welcome back to another episode of Johanna Banana. Thank you so much for watching my last episode. It was dirty and dark. I cheated. So embarrassed. Anyways, glad that's over with, okay? Moving on. Aiden and I have started doing something new. Yes, we are watching a new show. An oldie but goodie. It's Golden Girls in honor of Betty White. Now, I have seen Golden Girls, as I'm sure some of you have seen it numerous times, but Aiden is watching Golden Girls for the first time. And as we were watching Golden Girls, something really interesting happened. And this is something that has been happening, and a very bad parenting habit that I have. Bad. And I'm trying to break, but this is a very hard habit for me to break. So, as you guys all know, when we're on the show, I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I can talk about anything and everything, the good, the bad, the ugly in front of Aiden. Everyone thinks it's really cool how Aiden and I have such a close relationship. They love the banter between us. Thank you for that, Deadhead, for saying the banter between us. She loves it. Thank you. But in public, i.e. restaurants or doctor's offices, I don't treat Aiden like a kid. I don't treat Aiden like a mini adult. I treat him like a little kid. And it came to light. This is something I've always known. The first time that it kind of came to light that I was still speaking for him on his behalf, even though he's like twice my size, was when he was with his father. And he sent me a text message saying, what did you say in the text message, Aiden?
I was able to order by myself.
He was at a restaurant with his father and he was able to order. You placed a luncheon order all by himself. And I was like, oh crap. Yeah, my kid is not a child. He's a teenager. He should be ordering for himself. At the dermatologist's office, I was really bad. And I knew it. I knew I was being bad. I kept telling myself, shut up. Stop talking about Aiden's eczema. He knows all about his eczema. Even the doctor's probably like, shut up, Mom. Let the damn kid talk. But I couldn't do it. It's a horrible habit. And I never told you this, Aiden, but I did feel bad at the last dermatologist appointment. I really did. Because I was blah, blah, blah. And Aiden's just sitting there. So when we were watching the Golden Girls, Dorothy brought over a doctor to see Sophia. And when the doctor came over, the doctor and Dorothy were having a conversation in the living room. Little Sophia's just sitting on the couch. And the doctor says, what's wrong with Sophia? And Dorothy, just like me at the dermatologist's office, rattles off, well, blah, 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 this. And little Sophia's sitting there and she's like, what am I, 2? And I thought, oh, shit. That's me. That is our lovely, yucky dynamic that happens when we're out in public. And we had to even rewind it and rewatch it and just crack up because, yeah, that's us. So I'm going to try to work really hard, Aiden, on letting you be 15 and knowing that you do speak English, you can order food for yourself, you can tell your dermatologist about your eczema. I'm going to try to back off. One of my viewers came up with a really good suggestion, and that's as when I'm starting this whole thing, and I don't know, they say this is something the mothers do, so I don't know, maybe it comes naturally to us, but when I'm starting to speak on your behalf, we have to come up with some sort of code word so we don't make a scene like, I can order for myself, that kind of thing. Not that you would ever do that because I know you wouldn't, but I'm just saying I'm going to come up with some code word to stop. You've got to stop your mother for speaking on your behalf. So I'm going to be working on that. That's something that we just discovered. Yeah. Working on that, which leads us to our next segment that we're going to be talking about, and that's How I Met Your Father. Yeah. Viewers did ask me if I was connecting the dots yet, and at the time I wasn't connecting the dots, but now now that I'm entering into my second marriage chapter of my life, I kind of do see a pattern And here was the pattern, okay? I was a serial dater, all right? I went from one relationship to the next. Lots of people do it, okay? A lot of people don't admit it, but they do it. And that's kind of what I did. So here we are now. It doesn't seem that I was very long ago, a couple episodes ago, I was talking about my first marriage. So here we are talking about my second marriage. Okay, so here's one thing as far as connecting the dots. And I did take a break from dating. We will get to that point when I did take a 2-year hiatus from dating. I don't want you to think that my whole life has been a revolving door of men. It kind of seems that way, and it kind of has, but there were some times that I wasn't dating. Okay, I did take breaks. I've taken several breaks throughout this 11 years that I have been single since the end of my second marriage to Aiden's father. Okay, so let's talk about my second marriage. Now, I was 24, I think, at the time. Yeah. Already been divorced. Now, I was 24, and my first husband had driven me out here. We were divorced, but we were good friends. So my first husband drove me out here because I hate to drive. And so he drove me out here. And the first week that I moved here, and this is another connect the dots pattern, because here we go, me and my whirlwind romances. I'm an emotionally driven person, okay? I'm an intense person. I don't have a regulator. That was my dad. So yes, I feel strongly. My dad loved that about me. He says, you know, whoever's gonna find you has to love you, all of me, because I'm intense and I feel things strongly, good and bad. I mean, I get excited over seeing a dog, and 2 seconds later I could be in the depths of despair. So that's just how I go. My dad said I'm either fully on or fully off. There's no in between. I'm trying to get better with age, to kind of regulate. And now that I don't have my dad as my regulator, I'm learning how to regulate myself. Okay. So back to my first marriage, and again, whirlwind romance. First husband, good friend, drove me down here. The reason I moved to the state of Arizona was my job, but I had no problem leaving my state of California to come to Arizona, because this is where my family is originally from. My aunt was already here, so it wasn't really a big issue for me when they decided to transfer me to Arizona. So here I am. First day, not at my new office. It's the same company, but it's a new office, right? I'm sitting in the break room. Yes, the big office, sitting in the break room, and I see some of the guys carrying in some furniture. One of them's my desk, and I saw this person carrying my desk, and I knew. It was like one of those moments where, and I'm a big time fairy tale believer. I'm in La La Land when it comes to romance. So it was like, oh, it's meant to be. I saw you. It was the moment. Okay. What was really happening was a girl that was the first time living in a new state without her parents. Okay, that's what was really happening. She was trying to latch on to something. That's what was really happening. By the time I thought it was meant to be. I mean, when I met Aiden's dad, it was like, hello there, hi. And I'm not even a good flirt, but I was like, I think I was flirting with him. I don't even know, but it was just instant. Just like with my first husband. I knew him a week. Boom, moved in with him. Same thing happened with Aiden's father in that. Okay. So here's my running joke. And this is something that it's so weird, because a lot of people always say, if you give it up too soon, the relationship isn't going to last. And that's true for most of the point, but there are exceptions, okay? I gave it up really quickly with my first 2 husbands, and they married me. So I don't know, the whole getting the cow for free, I don't know. I think it's just the people and the circumstances around it. So again, with my second marriage, it was a whirlwind romance. I met him at work. We secretly dated, I think, but you know me and secrets and keeping my mouth shut. We secretly dated for a couple weeks, but then people found out. But it was great because he's only 5 years older than me. So I found it to be so refreshing to be with somebody younger, you know, and he was so hot and he had the tattoos and oh my God, God, you know, I used to tell my dad that when I would get into relationships, I would check my brain at the door. And literally, that's what I would do. I still do it, but, you know, I'm starting to retrieve my brain back a little bit sooner. But back then, I latched onto him because he had family here. I'm very people-oriented, very family-oriented. I'm thinking because I was adopted, that's why I'm always kind of really engaging with people and want to know people's lives and want to reach out to the family. So I latched onto him and I didn't let go. And in the beginning, oh my God, it was good in the beginning. It really was. It was really good. So he moved in with me after knowing him a week. I moved in with my first husband after knowing him a week. So yeah, I'm starting to connect those dots. I'm starting to see a pattern. Anyways, we're gonna do Aiden's dad Aiden's dad was my longest relationship. We were together for a decade. And we're gonna do the second part in our next episode. There's just not enough time in these episodes to tell the whole story, but I was with Aiden's dad. We lived together for 5 years before we got married. And it wasn't bad, okay? It was not bad those 5 years until after we got married. I know what it is about getting married, and I know some people have had this. Somehow when you get married, it changes things, and that's what happened with us. But we will get back into how my marriage changed after I had Aiden and after we were married, how the relationship changed. We're going to talk about that in our next episode. Okay, so that will be continued, but yeah. Hi. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to tell you a story that I love. And if I do start to cry, so sorry. Actually, you know what? Let's hold this thought. Let me get the Kleenex, okay? This is a father story. It's a very touching father story. I wanted to share a story about my father. Aiden will be sharing a story about his father, but we'll start with me. And I'm going to grab the Kleenex just in case, okay? Or Aiden's, well, it's okay. Okay, got the Kleenex. All right. Now, this is a great story about my father, and this is something that I kind of wish I would have, out of this story, I came up with a rule much years later that I wish I would have applied in my dating life earlier on after this happened. Anyways, okay, so this is a great story about my dad. This is a very touching story, and I want to share the type of father that my dad was, okay? So, one summer, every summer, we would take, my dad and my stepmother would take monthly vacations, okay? I know, my dad, one cool thing about being clergy, you did get a month vacation, right? Pretty cool perk, right? So he got a month vacation, and my aunt was living in DC at the time, and we decided to go see her in DC, and I went to DC 3 times, and I loved it all. It was awesome, the Smithsonian, everything. So here I am, 13, okay? And my aunt decided to treat us all to a train trip to DC. So we're coming from California to Washington, D.C. on a train, Amtrak, right? Pretty cool, right? It's awesome. You start in the West, the trains are new, you go through the field, corn, 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 trains get older, you're going back east, people are more abrupt, different. But it's very interesting because I love people. But at the time, I was 13 and too cool for school and did not want to be seen with her parents. And anyway, so we're boarding the train. And my dad embarrassed me. Oh my God, he embarrassed me. Okay, he wore a suit. Yes, a suit. Here I am looking cool, right? Got my overalls on. Remember how those were cool back in the 90s? My jean overalls and my overall shorts. I got my CD Walkman. I'm ready to get on this train and tune out. Here's my dad in the suit, right? So I get on this train. I'm ready. I'm at the ripe old age of 13. And, well, I had suffered from very bad cramps early on when I started my period. I started my period very young, thanks to my Latin roots. And I had really, really bad cramps. It was something that I struggled with a lot. My dad even missed a church service, I think, one time to take me up to the ER to get a shot of Demerol for his 10-year-old daughter who had horrible menstrual cramps, okay? That's the kind of dad my dad was. So I'm getting on this train, got my overalls, got my Walkman, everything's cool. My dad's embarrassing the hell out of me because he's like, in my day, we dressed up to travel. Dad, this is like so not whatever, 1950s, okay? Anyways, I was so prepared, or so I thought, right? Well, because this young girl was getting shots of Demerol due to cramps in the ER, she was put on the pill. Yeah. And here's the thing though, when you're 12 and 13 and on the pill and not even really knowing about sex and still kind of playing with Barbies, you're not taking the pill properly. Yeah. You're not thinking, oh God, I don't want to get pregnant. I better take the pill, right? You're not thinking that way. So I wasn't thinking, and I forgot to pack my birth control pills. Yes. And who's about to be gone for a month? Me. Yes. And who's an emotional drama queen? Me. So I discovered that I did not have my pills. I don't remember when I discovered that I didn't pack my pills, but at some point I discovered that I didn't pack my pills. And, me being Johanna Banana, even at the ripe old age of 43, has meltdowns, okay? So can you imagine me at 13? Yeah, so I was crying hysterically. Now, you're probably wondering, some people are probably wondering, not the girls maybe who've been on birth control, why was she crying so hysterically? Why was she so emotional? Okay, she forgot the pills. Maybe she'll have some bad cramps and go to the ER. There's ERs in DC. Yes, there is. Okay, but here is why I was crying and so upset. Because when you, and I don't know, maybe they've changed the pills. I don't know. But back in the day, when you stopped taking your birth control abruptly, what happened? The Red Sea, okay? So that's what I was not prepared. I didn't have anything for the Red Sea. What the freak, right? So that's why I was so hysterical. How embarrassing is this? I am wearing freaking jean overalls that were light color. They weren't even like dark denim, okay? I'm wearing a white shirt and I could start my freaking period at any moment, okay? And I'm freaking out. I crawled to we had a sleeper car. And I remember this. I crawled to the top of the sleeper car. Dramatic. Get up there. Get in a pillow. And do what girls do at 13 best. We cry. And I cried. And I cried and I cried and I cried. Because I think I did start my period too, if what I remember. I did start my period. I cried and I cried. Freaking out, all this stuff, because I don't know when our next port was going to be. We're going to stop, I think, in LA, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awful, right? Anyways, as I'm crying up in my bunk, my dad. He decided to ask around to some of the female train attendants. I don't know what you call them. You used to call it, I guess, train attendants, right? Flight attendants, train attendants. To the train attendants, he would ask women if they had any pads at the time, because I was a young girl, okay? I wasn't doing the whole tampon thing. He came back with a box of pads. Yeah. And here's the funny thing though, and this is something that is so funny. I cried so much as my dad was walking around, you know, different cars and asking, trying to talk to people. My period stopped. That's the ironic thing, you know. I think when my dad came back with the pads and I went to the bathroom, my period had stopped. My body was like, damn girl, you are that fucked up. You are not prepared for your period right now, okay? So it stopped. It stopped. But yeah, here's the thing though. That's a memory that I will always carry, because that was a really touching moment, and that my dad did that for me. And that was the kind of dad my dad was, you know. He was the dad that took me to the ER when I was 10 years old to get a shot of Demerol because I had cramps. And he was the type of dad that made me birthday cards with my pets on them. And I will show you those when I get them back, but I don't have them right now. So he was that kind of dad. And later on in life, after 2 failed marriages, I thought, you know, the real test to a relationship, and of course I was already fixed and not having my period anymore, but I thought, God, here's a test for you young girls. Okay, if you find a guy that's willing to get you protection, okay, or get you a heating pad, or make you soup, because my dad, you know, another thing my dad used to do when I had bad period cramps, he would get me Chinese food, you know, to make you feel better. If you have a guy that's doing that for you, that's a good guy. I've never had a guy do that for me other than my dad. So later on in life, I thought, damn, I should have tested these guys. I should have been like, are you gonna buy me pads? Are you gonna buy me a tampon? Are you gonna make me soup? I should have really tested these guys, because I really think that there was something to that. There really is something to a guy that's there for you in those not so fun circumstances. So yeah, so that is my wonderful father story. All right, thank you.
Alrighty. So, it was interesting. So now I want to talk about a time with my dad. So this wasn't that long ago, actually. I want to say probably maybe a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago. I was at my dad's. And normally, you know, it's normally not just my dad. There's always, you know, the stepmom and the stepkids. But this time, the stepmom and stepkids weren't there. So I was actually able to spend time with my father. And, you know, we were just kind of watching stuff. And then I want to say at around 10 p.m., you know, we kind of went outside to just kind of pass some stuff up outside before we went to bed. And there's just this helicopter that's just kind of looping around. And I don't remember what it was saying, but it was looking for someone. And they kept saying, you know, their name, where they were, or not where they were, but where they ran from and stuff. And they were just kind of circling. So we stayed up for, I want to say 2 hours, just watching that thing just circle and circle. And yeah, that was really nice. So, yeah.
All right, everybody. I would just like to thank you for watching another episode of Johanna Banana. Okay, I am working, we're going to work on Aiden's Father Part 2. After Aiden's Father Part 2, I'm going to be working on a pet episode. I just did a promo clip to our pet episode because I am asking for pet photos. Yes, I would like to see your furry or maybe scaly or slimy or feathery companions, okay? So please watch the promo clip. There's going to be an email. We're going to be going over to KP's place, checking out her pets. Aiden set up an email so that we can get pictures. And so watch our promo clip for our episode. I think it's going to be episode 10 about pets. All right. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Johanna Banana. Please subscribe.